Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into what Cody and Robyn have been up to. And it's a lot. They've been trying to silence Mary, pushing her to sign an ENDA. Just before they were set to close on Kody Pass, Robyn cooked up this plan. The ENDA basically would have forced Mary to give up any legal claims she might have against them and hold them harmless for money they'd taken from her. Naturally, Mary said no, through her lawyers. They fought it, and eventually she signed off on the property without that ENDA. At the time of that sale, Cody and Robyn were poised to walk away with $750,000. And that's on top of nearly $1 million they already made from selling their Hashknife home. In just a few months, they sold the Hashknife home, using $400,000 of the proceeds as a down payment on their next house, bringing their mortgage down to $1.6 million, and still walked away with roughly $900,000. Then comes the sale of Kody Pass. The house sold for $1, $5 million, and they took home 50% of that, $750,000, before closing costs and real estate commissions. So, in a matter of months, they had over $1 million at their disposal. Now, on the show, Cody claimed he needed to sell Kody Pass to qualify for his current home. But that wasn't true. He had already bought the house before selling Kody Pass. What he did with the proceeds? We don't really know. My assumption? He likely put it toward his current mortgage. Who knows? Logically, if you've got a massive debt on a home, the smart move would be to pay it down. Especially at 58 years old, you're getting close to retirement. Who wants a $12,000 or $13,000 monthly mortgage hanging over their head at that age? It's not sustainable, especially if the show might get canceled. But Cody and Robyn? They're not interested in paying Mary back. Instead, they tried to strong-arm her into signing an ENDA. Mary refused, which meant they didn't get the amount of money they were hoping for. Instead of her getting, say, $1.14 million, she only got $25, or at least much less than expected. And then things get really wild. On December 31st, Cody and Robyn went to a title company and took out a $750,000 home equity line of credit on their property. That's right, plus interest. This isn't a normal 10-year line of credit, it's a 30-year one. Essentially, they now have the ability to borrow up to $750,000, pay it back, and borrow again whenever they want. If you're cash poor and need money, a home equity line of credit is an easy way to access your home's equity. Typically, people use it for renovations. But Cody and Robyn? No renovations here. I checked the permits. They're not planning to do any upgrades at all. So why $750,000? That's huge. The agreement allows them to use it like a revolving account, basically. Their home becomes a personal cash machine. And here's the kicker. In the past, Cody and Robyn have a habit of refinancing quickly after buying homes. They often use short-term ARMs, 3 or 5 years, then refinance when the rate expires. Sometimes, they even take first and second mortgages to avoid mortgage insurance. But here's what's strange. They already have a first mortgage for $1.6 million. Less than a year, just 8 months, after cashing in from Kody Pass, they're taking out a loan against that same home for nearly the exact same amount. What are the chances? Really, what are the chances? If they just paid down $750,000 on their first mortgage, they'd have $750,000 to work with while still keeping their loan to value in check. But no, they went straight for a second mortgage. And no lender is going to let you hit 100% equity. It's wild. That just doesn't happen. Generally, lenders require at least 20% equity. You can't just take out everything you've got. So what this tells me is that whatever cash Cody and Robyn had from selling Kody Pass and their previous home, it's gone. Poof. Which says a lot about their lifestyle. They've got very expensive tastes. But where exactly did all that money go so fast? Sure, Cody has child support to pay and probably some legal fees, but even accounting for that, it doesn't add up. They haven't bought any new property. We do know Cody and Robyn love to fill their houses, jewelry, trinkets, doll clothes, though. Come on, do you really think Robyn blew through $1 million on doll clothes alone? Maybe. Stranger things have happened. Could they be setting aside cash to pay Mary back? Or preparing for a potential lawsuit and needing liquid funds for legal fees? Even that doesn't fully make sense. If they just put the $750,000 from Coyote Pass into their home, that would essentially wipe out any equity they'd gain from selling Hashknife. It's clear. They aren't focused on paying off the home. They're using it as a piggy bank. Here's the thing. If you're in solid financial shape, you don't suddenly take out a $750,000 home equity line of credit a year after buying a house. That size of a HELOC? Insane. I've rarely seen one that big. And let's not forget, they've been on reality TV for 15, 16 years. If ever there were a time to have cash reserves, this would be it. Most people with wealth keep a significant amount of liquid assets, savings, stocks, mutual funds, gold, exactly for situations like this. But here, there's no emergency fund. No money to pay Mary, no money to pay Janelle. There's basically no money at all, because as soon as they make it, they spend it. For most people, a home is a long-term investment. My husband and I bought our home in 2013. Since then, we've never refinanced our primary mortgage. We pay extra on our loan every month. We've never taken out a second mortgage. And we've never used home equity as liquidity. We keep a separate cash reserve for emergencies. Even when I've had to cover legal fees, I've paid them without touching our home equity. Why? Because carrying that much debt, especially in a market like this with inflation and high purchase prices, is risky. There's always a chance of a market crash or a housing bubble bursting. Using your home as a cash machine is risky, and from what I see, Cody and Robyn are doing exactly that. This actually reminds me of 2008. I worked in mortgages leading up to that crash. Housing prices were skyrocketing, and people were borrowing like crazy. High-risk loans, subprime loans, it was a total frenzy. Things have changed a lot since then, but the market still has its ups and downs. After the crash, prices slowly recovered, and in the past several years, they've shot through the roof again. The pace we're seeing now, it's just not sustainable long-term. And I want to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor, but having worked in mortgages, I've seen the patterns. There's always a point where growth slows down. It might not crash, but it usually cools off. That's where timing really matters. Ideally, you buy at the low of the market. Then, if the market slows down, you're sitting pretty, you bought low. For example, the house I bought years ago is probably worth about twice what I paid for it. Could I move to another home? Sure, but I'd be buying at the top of the market. And buying at the top is always risky. You could buy this year, and next year your house might not even be worth more. That's basically what's happening in Flagstaff right now. Cody and Robyn bought at the peak, late 2024 into 2025. The market has slowed down since then, with slower price growth, so they're sitting at the top of the market rather than on a low point. Right now, the market is definitely cooling. There's more inventory, fewer pending sales than during peak times, slower price appreciation, and homes are sitting on the market longer. Basically, the housing shortage we saw before, that's eased up. Cody and Robyn bought their home in 2024 for $2.1 million. For comparison, just a few years ago, homes were jumping $100,000, $200,000 in equity each year. Take Hashknife, they bought it for around $890,000. In just 5 years, that house nearly doubled in value. They sold it for $1.7 million. They bought low, sold high. But here's the problem. They bought their next home at the top of the market. Now, a year later, the realtor estimates it's worth $2,116,000, an increase of just $16,000 in a year. That's a clear sign of a cooling market, especially for a house of that size and price. Honestly, they are some of the most financially reckless people I've ever seen. All the fighting you see, the deflecting, Robyn saying they're jealous, Janelle claiming it was a power move. It's all smoke and mirrors. Janelle got caught backstabbing Mary. Kody thinks Janelle's complaints are because of some backdoor deal she tried. Now, suddenly, Janelle's the one they want to throw under the bus. The reality? They owe a lot of people money. Mary could sue them at any time. Maybe they're taking out this huge loan to pay her back, but that just piles on more debt. When Sister Wives eventually ends, they probably won't be able to afford this house. Kody will struggle to make the same kind of money without the show. Here's the harsh truth. Within 2 or 3 years after the show ends, Cody and Robyn could be bankrupt, or even sooner. Right now, they're essentially bankrupt in terms of liquid cash. That's why they're fighting Mary, fighting Janelle. They simply don't have the money to pay them back, even after all the money they made last year. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties.